What's a trade secret you know from working the industry? Arcade crane games have knobs inside that let you control how strong the claw grabs. So you basically make the claw really weak strength, and then there's a setting in the motherboard to make the claw go full power after a certain amount of plays. Whatever the arcade door owner decides how often they want people to actually win. If you call a call center of any kind, and the person you're talking to puts you on hold with no hold music, they can hear everything you are saying. I worked in an insurance call center when I was really young. I had so many people accidentally confess to insurance fraud that way. I once had a guy who was being nice as pie, then when I put him on hold started calling me a stupid bitch who probably didn't know what I was doing to his friend. I unmuted and said in my sweetest voice, "Oh, don't worry, I do know what I'm doing. I was trying to see if I could pull in a favor to get you an upgrade even though you're not entitled to one with your policy, but I'll keep my favors for another time. Your entitlement is a 1 LTR. We will not be upgrading." Guy was dumbfounded, and as I hadn't been rude and hadn't done anything wrong, management supported me when he tried to complain. As a freelance photographer, most magazines and newspapers don't pay you for using your photos. They offer you photo credit only. If you ask to be paid, they just get a similar photo from someone else. Too many years in an industrial bakery. If the plastic clip holding a bread bag closed is upside down compared to the others, it's been manually attached by hand and the contents may have been tampered with. If you unclip open a bag of factory produced bread while holding it hanging from your hand, and the bag spins open, the same thing as above applies. That is, someone has spun the bag before manually attaching the clip. The machines don't spin the bags. If you buy sliced bread and there's a rather sudden shift in color between, say, the first 10 and last 20 slices, they're different loaves patched together by hand in the same bag. Same thing is true if there's a slight shift in size diameter. Slices should naturally line up perfectly with their neighboring slices if they're the same loaf. Things may have changed in the past few years, but generally speaking, plastic is hardly ever recycled anymore. It used to be shipped to China for processing, but even they had a hard time with the amount of pollution and toxic waste produced by recycling it. Now it will get shipped to other countries in Asia where more often than not it just gets dumped into the Pacific Ocean. A lot of municipalities just add it to landfill. On the other end of the spectrum, aluminum recycling is amazing. If you ship through FedEx Express, if you're sending many packages envelopes to a single stop, ship one priority overnight and the rest standard. They'll be delivered together with the priority package. Express courier here. This is on point. I hate having to double back to a stop, so if I see a business priority and 3 more standard, I get giddy because I can do that stop as one instead of 2 separate ones. Worked in high-end golf clubs for years. Almost all politicians register their handicap scores under a false name. The USGA handicap records are technically public information, and people would be pretty pissed if they knew how much time these guys actually spend playing golf. Attorneys can really only remember the details of about 20 to 40 cases at a time. So if you call your attorney after about a month or 2, depending on the firm and how busy they are, they likely completely forgot what happened to you, and are working off a set of notes to pretend they have any clue who you are. Especially if you've really only interacted with them via phone other than one time in person for an intake or whatever. Please don't be offended if your lawyer needs 3-4 data points to remember what case you are. Some of us carry over 100 at a time and my brain just needs a minute. But once I boot up that you're the one with the 3 random things that make you stand out, I really do remember the whole thing. I will never, ever remember the case by your name. I'd be a much more expensive lawyer if I had sales skills like that. Movie industry. Unless you are absolutely breathtaking in your audition, which does happen, don't get me wrong. There is a list of 30 people each studio prioritizes to be in their major films. Casinos don't need to cheat. We have already rigged the game against you. Funniest thing I ever heard from a bookie is that all his clients will tell you at the end of the year that they're about even. Oh yeah, then how did I afford this BMW, he'd say. You gotta love the gamblers who always win. One of my friends would talk about her friend who always wins. I'm like, you mean the dude living with his parents in his 30s who has put himself on the do not let me in the casino list twice? That guy. Yeah, gamblers only tell you when they win. Tourism industry here. Look up when peak season is for the destination you're looking at. There are usually cheaper prices at the beginning and end of the season. Try to book at the beginning of the season. Seasonal workers work themselves ragged and are usually completely burnt out at the end. At the beginning of the season, everyone is stoked to start making money again. If you are buying software for your workplace, get a quote and then go silent until it's the end of the quarter. Then call the sales rep and tell them you can buy it today but only have enough budget for 70% of the cost. Your chances for a discount go way up at the end of the quarter. The Canadian legal system is extremely underfunded and overwhelmed. If you are being sued by the Crown, government, for a non-violent offense, you can literally filibuster the court into dropping your case, in some instances. It happens for violent crimes too. I, unfortunately, know a guy whose case got pushed back for so long due to COVID that they just dropped it. He did assault somebody. You'll never resell that diamond at a profit if you're not in the industry. Just write that engagement ring off as a financial loss when you walk out of the store with it. This is why I buy all my jewelry resale. Oodles of women have custom pieces made and then almost instantly list them for sale at a loss. I take advantage of wealthier women's whims and end up usually paying half of what they did for barely worn pieces. If you live in the US, the absolute worst time to remodel your kitchen or bathroom is the fourth quarter of the year. From about mid-October through to the second week of January is the busiest time of the year for most countertop tile shower wall companies. This is because mid-October is the lead up to two holiday seasons that are centered around the kitchen and food traditions, Thanksgiving and Christmas. Everybody wants their new shiny kitchen appliances and countertops before Thanksgiving, so they can invite their family over and wow them with their beautiful new kitchen. Those that start too late will often find themselves with project delays, stock issues, and scheduling issues with fabricators, contractors, installers. During this time of the year, just about everyone raises their prices for everything. Installation, fabrication, special orders, you name it. They'll put on some sales for certain materials to pretend it's a seasonal deal, but labor prices especially will see an uptick. This is because companies know they can charge more because more people want work done. By mid-January, most companies dealing with installation have finished up their projects and find their schedules empty. Prices then go down. Want new stone countertops for Thanksgiving this year to wow your family? Do it in February. Want to surprise your spouse by redoing the shower walls for Christmas? Don't. Source: I'm a salesman for a stone tile company that does installation. My commission bonuses for Q4 are often double what I take home during other times of the year. I used to work at an amusement park, Six Flags. The food is like $30 for a cheeseburger type bullshit, but if you go in those fences that say employees only, there's usually some kind of employee food court nearby. When I worked there, employees could use the food court on their off days, even without a uniform, and pay cash. So after I quit, I'd just go there with friends and family and get full plates of burgers and stuff for like $5. Nobody ever said anything or suspected that we weren't employees. Was a nice way to save money when you're already spending a fortune on tickets and games. Pest control, for the most part, like 98%, is a scam. The chemicals we use are effective, sure, but not in the concentrations we mix them. That doesn't apply to organic chemicals, which are completely useless. Clove oil doesn't kill bugs, neither does peppermint oil. It just smells. You want to know the most effective chemical we use? Orthoboric acid. For those of you that don't know, it's borax. The stuff your grandparents and their grandparents used to hill and keep ants out. Save your money, go to your local store and buy borax. Follow the instructions. Don't ducking eat it. Enjoy. If you want to book a rental car but they're sold out, book it for a week or two longer than you actually need it and then just return the car early and you'll only get charged for the time that you had it. All the systems owned by Enterprise Rent-A-Car, Enterprise, Alamo and National, automatically open up their system to long-term reservations and will make sure you get a car over someone who only booked in for a day or two. Worked there for 2 years. It's a dirty business but at least I learned a lot of rental hacks and mayo. The US military wastes an extraordinary amount of money, and not necessarily on weapons or personnel or anything like that. Every year, commanders must submit their total spending for the previous year. If they did not spend the granted amount, they lose it next year. So for example, if a commander is granted $5 million for his building but he only spends $4 million, his next budget will drop to $4 million. This results in commanders ordering expensive stuff in bulk, replacing good furniture and equipment, and enacting pointless construction projects such as a parking lot that they don't need. Great example, when he couldn't make the budget, our commander ordered 360-inch TVs and had them placed in the hallways, spare rooms, and tossed the remainder in storage. Each TV was overpriced at around $1,000. Commander met his budget though, so I guess it was a success. Welcome to the bloated US military. Edit, I realize most of the government works this way, but this is just my specific experience in the military, which is arguably the most bloated and overfunded piece of the federal government's budget. The biggest security threat in your company isn't your older PCs, lack of security software protecting your network, updated patching of all systems. Yes, those are all still threats. It's your employees. On average, half of your employees will give out their login and password to an email, website, or even someone who called claiming to be a person that needs that info. They will give that away faster than any hacker trying to break in through the network. The Target breach of 2013 cost them $18.5 million after hackers stole 40 million credit and debit records. How'd they do it? An HVAC company that worked on a number of Target locations had an account's login and AMP password stolen. That's how they got in. No movie-style hacking sequence, just a dumb employee who gave their info away and cost millions in damages. Yep. Employees will wreak havoc by doing stupid things. A great example of this is the Stuxnet computer worm scenario. Stuxnet was a virus developed by the United States of America and Israel in order to stop the nuclear program of Iran. What the Stuxnet virus did was, it infected the computers that were connected to the centrifuges which were essential in developing nuclear weapons. The worm was so smartly programmed that it would secretly make the centrifuge spin a little faster than recommended each time it was turned on, causing significant damage to the centrifuge over the course of time. How did the US pull off this mega mind hack? They dropped infected USB sticks around the center where nuclear weapons were being developed and, you guessed it, an employee plugged it into his work computer. For modern company promotions. Much like the Willy Wonka golden ticket, this isn't just produced in a box and sent out randomly. The company produces the winning products separately and these are given to a third party who reverse shoplift these into random locations. Hotels aren't as dirty as people think they are. I've been seeing life pro tips that recommend bringing your own linens because we only superficially clean them if at all. That's just not true. I work for a pretty cheap and very popular chain and we literally soak our linens in bleach for a week if they are discolored at all. I think recently people are realizing this, and that EBMs definitely usually aren't the cleaner option. Your garbage men have very specific rules about what they are supposed to take and not take. If you show even the slightest bit of kindness, they will be much more willing to bend the rules to help you out. Same goes for being stuck behind the truck. If you ask kindly to pass, they will get out of your way, but if you just honk or yell, they will move much slower. We are often underappreciated and will show lots of gratitude when you show us a little respect for what we do. Used to work for a famous energy drink company. One that claims their product works for 5 hours. Anyway, most of the proprietary energy ingredients included in the shots are in such small quantities that they are completely useless. The only ingredient capable of doing anything is the caffeine. The others were sometimes less than 1% of the dose needed to have any effect. Essentially a huge waste of materials. VFX Artist here. All of those celebrities that look so attractive? Well, they get zits like anybody else. Big honkin' nasty zits that not even makeup can fully conceal. Yeah, I still remember having to erase a cold sore in the upper lip from an actress in a lot of shots of a TV show. It came and went, so every time a new episode was given to me, I would pray that the damn thing didn't show up this time. Every time I see her face, I just have flashbacks of that upper lip. Here's a big one. When your loved one dies and you choose cremation with no services, very common these days, please select the option that their clothing personal effects will be cremated with them. The other option is to destroy the items. This means they are removed and placed in a biohazard bag. We're not gentle in the removal of these items, because the next step is the cremation. Your loved ones deserve the dignity of going into the machine while wearing whatever they're wearing. The exception is if you'd like their clothing back. We're more gentle and generally the items are laundered. More of an open secret, but there's no such thing as overnight success or getting discovered for Hollywood Broadway. A lot of times the breakout role comes when someone is already pretty successful. 1% of people who pursue acting make a living doing it, not get big, make a living. So getting to a place where you're booking regularly is success. Look at the lives of stars who got big in their early 20s, whether their parents were connected or not. Many of them started when they were like 11 and were known in the industry by the time they got that breakout role. It's probably not a secret, but the food retail industry wastes a massive amount of edible food. I worked as a waitress and the amount of good food that was thrown away was disgusting. One time I suggested we donate leftover food to a food bank or something to one of the venues I was working at, and the manager put the food in the bin and then poured bleach on it. Even typing this, I am so angry thinking about that. Worked at a restaurant during college in Florida in the 80s-90s. Health department would not let cooked food be donated to shelters, charities unless it was made specifically for donating. I always gave the staff the option of taking food home rather than throwing it out, and now and then we'd let folks from the local shelters come in through the back door to take out the trash, which would be bags of boxed up to-go containers. In the news business, there are a lot of trade secrets. In the larger papers, the aggregated stories from services like the Associated Press are written with each paragraph in descending importance, so that they can be cut to fit then space in a newspaper. These are rearranged in order to quickly highlight certain aspects of the story. This used to be what spin was. The facts were generally always consistently present, but de-emphasized or emphasized accordingly. This has all gone out the window, of course, in favor of guys actually just sassing each other over things. Working in the gemstone industry, it's all bullshit. Which everybody knows, but nobody knows the absolute level of bullshit is involved. I've seen people ready to drop 4K on a single stone at first sight to then change their mind because it wasn't from a specific country. They all look the ducking same. Dude. That private military contracting companies are complete bullshit. The government pays out a ton in the contract, but the company pockets like 80% of the money and then they cut corners on personnel and equipment. Most of the people they hire for overseas stuff are people from third world countries that have a history of British colonialism, because these countries have people who will work for outrageously low wages and they are able to speak English. countries like Kenya and Uganda are ones my company tended to hire the vast majority of the positions. They were getting paid like $100 a month and got treated like absolute shit. Just completely replaceable. If they complained in any way they were just fired and sent back home, and they would just ship a new Ugandan in. Then they hire a couple Westerners. I mostly saw Americans, Brits, and Aussies, with a military background to supervise the Ugandans while they do most of the actual work. I personally had a guard force of over 100 Ugandans on the Ekpina arc I was assigned to. I ended up quitting before my contract was complete because I couldn't take how ducked up it all was. I know no one is actually going to read this, so it feels good to be able to get this off my chest, lol.